Waking up early hasn't always come natural to me. I used to always hit snooze on my alarms and get as much sleep as I could possibly fit in. But once I had kids, I quickly realized that if I didn't make extra time for myself during the day with some peace and quiet, that I was going to go insane. And that's when I started waking up in the early morning, and I haven't looked back ever since. On a fall morning, the air is usually cool and crisp outside, which makes the house a little chilly. So I will start a fire sometimes to take the edge off and warm it up a little bit. I usually start every morning with a cup of my mushroom coffee and some added collagen for protein and other health benefits. But lately I've been thinking about switching to tea. I haven't done it yet, but it's definitely been on my mind. But there's just something so cozy about a hot cup of something in the morning, whether it be coffee or tea. This particular morning, I was really struggling with getting this fire going. I don't really know why, but I actually eventually ended up giving up on it because the house wasn't unbearably cold. It was nothing I couldn't deal with. So I just decided to move on to doing some work on my computer. I try not to start my morning out right away with any kind of screen time, but once I've waken up a little bit, I will do some work on my computer, on my blog, and stuff like that. Because it's a lot easier to focus when the kids are still asleep and they're not making tons of noise. So I tend to be a bit more productive in the early mornings. Sometimes, if I'm not in the mood for computer work, I will actually get into my Bible first thing in the morning. I usually tend to want to wait until it gets a little lighter outside because having lights on usually makes the kids wake up a little earlier. But sometimes I'm just not feeling it, and the only thing that really sounds appealing is just getting into God's Word. And I believe it is a great way to start your day and just help you set the tone and have an overall good attitude and good feeling about how the day is going to go. Every time I find a verse that really speaks to me, I will highlight it. That way I do not forget it. God always seems to put the right words in front of me at the right time when I need to see them. And this particular morning, He did just that with this verse that I highlighted because it happened to be the first morning alone after my husband left to be gone for 5 weeks, and I was having a very hard time. So it was a very helpful thing for me to read on this particular morning. Reading my Bible has not always come easy to me. It's something that I have wanted to do for a very long time, but I just didn't really know how. It's a very large book and it's very intimidating, and the thought of reading it cover to cover is just very overwhelming. But somebody told me to start reading in the New Testament, and that's what I did. And it has been such a blessing in my life to be getting into God's Word every single day. And it's just really helped me become closer with the Lord and just overall be a happier and better person. It has honestly changed my life in the course of just a few months. And it is something so simple that many of us overlook and don't feel like we need to do. But I can't stress to you how important it is to get in that Bible as often as you are able to. A little later in the morning when the kids are awake, I will make them breakfast, and usually I'll just have a protein shake, but every once in a while I will eat something as well. I try not to leave dishes in the sink overnight, but sometimes it happens. So sometimes before I make breakfast, I like to wash the dishes. That way I don't have an extra large pile of dishes to work on when I'm done. Earlier in the morning, you saw me adding some collagen to my coffee, but I also like to add it to my protein shakes as well. I do half of the daily amount in my coffee and the other half in my protein shakes usually. After breakfast, I will start clearing off the table so we can move on to homeschooling. I don't really have a dedicated homeschooling space other than our dining room table, which I know is not ideal, but I've learned to work with what I have. I was very intimidated by homeschooling at first, and it was really hard for me to actually get started, but I finally did, and I've learned a lot along the way, and it's really not as hard as it seems. While my kids are younger, I decided to go with a curriculum called The Good and the Beautiful. It is a Christian based homeschool curriculum, and it's very simple and it walks you through everything you need to do. And so far, in this short amount of time that we've been doing it, both of my kids have learned a lot. I am actually very impressed with their progress, and I was really worried about it at first and worried if I was able to do this, but they have come a long ways. Every morning we start with a calendar, the day of the week, we sing the days of the week song, and talk about the weather. Next, I learned to put one of them on something that is more self led so I can work one on one with the other one. And then when I'm done working with the other one, I will put the other one on something that is more self led. And that has allowed us to get a lot more done. When I was trying to do the same thing with both kids at the same time, since they're in different grades, it was very difficult and it just led to a lot of frustration. So we usually start with reading, and then after reading, we will move to math. And after math, we will take a break and do lunch. And later on, we'll do some kind of science. And this is very loosely done. I don't do anything formal for science at the moment. I am just doing some kind of nature activity. For example, one day we went and picked up a lot of different fall leaves and basically just talked about how the leaves change color and fall off the trees in the fall, why this happens, and then we did a little craft with it at the end. Homeschooling does not have to be difficult, it does not have to be scary, and you don't have to have this perfect homeschool space. Like I said, we just use our dining room table, and it gives me another excuse to make sure that our dining room table stays cleared off for the most part. Another thing I did, a part of the homeschool, is join a local homeschool co op group where other homeschool kids meet up and do things usually once or twice a week. And that just ensures that the kids get socialization and get to make friends and play. Usually, while my kids are finishing up a little bit of their self led homeschool, I will just work on various things that need to be done around the house. And in this case, I was putting my pantry back together because when my husband was home, he built me these wonderful shelves. Sometimes we will also take a break in homeschool to go do some chores for the animals as well. Here we are filling up the water for the horses. And this morning, which was the first morning my husband was gone, I woke up and the horses were out. So I put them back in, and a couple hours later, they were out again. So we ended up taking a little trip down the road to the neighbor's house and grabbing some hay to try to keep them in. Just a simple thing like creating an early morning routine has helped me so much. From being able to be more productive and just having some peace and quiet and time to myself, to being able to make time to get into my Bible, it has helped me so much as a person. And while I'm still very sad when my husband leaves, and it's definitely hard the first couple days, it has helped me become more rooted and just focus on my purpose, which is taking care of my children and our homestead while my husband's away so he can do what he needs to do and so I can support him better. If I am not in a good mental place myself, then I can't support him, and this is not easy on him either. So he needs all of the mental and emotional support he can get from me. So I really make it a priority to do the best that I can. If you enjoyed my video and want to see more homesteading and homemaking content, please make sure to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment if there's anything hanging you up from coming up with a productive morning routine.